idea?
You're over 9.
Long time.
That got ya.
So they rebuilt the road in the early 60s. At the time, my family moved from Fayette, Ohio to Walton, Michigan. You know, so I would have been 11, 12 years old when that happened. To my knowledge, it's never been replaced since then.
Right.
I would say probably when they built the road is when then.
Yeah.
Long before me.
But so once we go out and do that little bit of additional work, we can submit the permit and get ordering the tube and get that moving. The Bacon Road east of Rumsey Road, which is over the auto drain, we still have to do a stream bed survey for that. Once we get the survey done, it'll be the same type of thing. We'll have to send it to Scavina with Eagle, and he'll have to look it all over and approve our design, and then we can go through with the permitting on that.
So is that a big one too?
It's, I think, a 5-footer, a 4-footer. It's not nearly like territorial road.
Okay, on that Bacon Road one, I think that's what we've been hearing, doing the stream bed survey.
Yes.
What's the holdup? Is there a snag? Or is it, I mean, because I think we've been hearing this several meetings in a row now.
You have.
Okay.
Yeah, from when we went out and met with him, he at first told us we weren't gonna have to do a survey.
Okay.
Then he came back just recently and gave us the notes from our meeting and said we do have to do the survey. So I know when we met with him, we had to do the stream bed for territorial. And then you were hearing a lot about that.
Right.
Because we had to wait on Jackson to do that. They had to come down and use their equipment to do the actual stream bed survey.
Did you meet with Sabina then?
Yes, Kevin and I did.
Out there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So now this Bacon Road one, we might be able to do it with our own equipment, but it's gonna be a lot easier and more efficient to do it with Jackson's equipment, but we have to wait on the timing for them because they're tied up with everything and, you know, it's one of those deals.
So what kind of timing are we looking at with Jackson?
Well, the last one, the territorial road one, took a month and a half to get him freed up to do it. So that's where
What
that's.
equipment would we be using at Jackson's?
They come down, it was slicker than snot. They came down to do the territorial one. Charlie came down by himself. It's a GPS unit. And he literally, it's all tied in. As long as you have an open skyline, no trees, no obstructions, then he can do it by himself. And he just literally punched things in and walked it and did the whole thing himself. We were there for maybe an hour to get all the shots that we needed to do. But if we do it, we have to do it like with a transit. We have to measure from spot to spot, take the shot, record it, measure, everything's all manually old school.
It's not exactly science approved.
Right, it's very, very efficient the way Jackson can do it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like you probably have Charlie do it.
So, yeah, I think we just kind of have to wait on Charlie's free time.
So is this a culvert that's not gonna get done this year then?
Oh, probably not. I wouldn't.
And that's not what he expected to try to get it done this year, this culvert?
I don't think we expected it. This one is definitely not priority. Territorial road is failing.
Priority, okay.
Bacon is not necessarily priority, it just needs to be done.
This one's more preventative maintenance, the other one's critical.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes. I would
So,
agree
so
with that.
waiting for Jackson County is not a problem.
Perfectly okay.
Okay, that's what okay, very good.
Yep. Elm Grove Bridge, still waiting on that dang hydraulic study.
I found that out already when
I have reached out to Charlie multiple times trying to get the contact information for the lady that's doing the study. So,
Elmwood?
yes.
Okay.
So I can hound her, and I've not been successful with getting her information. So I don't have any updates, don't know where she's at with that hydraulic study. And
Right.
Charlie's doing Jackson stuff, so he doesn't have the time to check in for us as much. So,
Frank just called me
okay,
on that, wanting to know where we're at.
yeah. So I'm trying to get the information from Charlie to be able to helm this
That
lady.
hydraulic study's went on for 3 months.
Yeah.
And I guess it only takes a few hours?
I don't know, I'm not familiar with it, but
This is crazy.
so I'm hoping that I can, every day, I'm going to email Charlie, call him, and try and get this contact so that I can be annoying to this lady and get it done. Because if I remember correctly, when Bob communicated with Charlie about hiring this lady, Charlie said, she needs pushed a little bit. She's kind of slow at what she does.
We're thinking more of shove.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Light a
So,
fire.
yeah. So I'm working on putting some pressure
Man,
on. The territorial road bridges, back to your original question, Gary.
Yeah.
According to Susan with Manick and Smith, they're the consultant that we've hired to do the
Engineer.
inspection and construction engineering down there. They still have a lot of approach work to complete, and Millbacher is anticipating that open to traffic date is the end of August now. It's not gonna be the middle of August.
okay.
It's partially due to using a number of subcontractors for the concrete approach slabs and HMA paving and their schedules, but Millbacher continues to work slowly toward final grading. This was exactly her words from the email. In addition to the out-of-scope work, Millbacher has now passed their original completion date by more than a month.
That's unusual for them.
Correct. So, she even kind of was like, well, it says end of August, but I'm telling like Karen and the people that take the phone calls, tell them end of August to middle of September, just because it seems like it was gonna be middle of July, then it was the end of July, then it was middle of August, and it just keeps pushing farther.
Have you
so.
been out there to the
I
site?
have not been out there since we were out, raiding roads earlier.
Okay. You know, I don't know anything about roads and bridges, but I was out there, late last week.
Okay.
The bridges themselves look great, look like they're done. But there's a lot of road bed work that has to be done, and particularly on the north side, east of the East Bridge.
Okay,
There's they've had to haul a lot of fill in there. And so my question is in the plan, is there something to put guardrail along there?
yes,
Yeah.
all the guardrail will be replaced.
Okay, well, there's never been any guardrail right in this area because they've had to, build up the roadbed there substantially.
Right, where that driveway goes down into that little.
That's on the south side,
Okay, no,
Okay,
the
there is a
driveway that
drive.
goes to that little like
Yeah.
shack that's back
but
in.
even from there, almost clear back to where the existing guardrail is.
Mhm.
If somebody goes off the road there,
Yeah.
the vehicle's gonna roll.
With the federal funds, they're mandated to actually put guardrail farther than we would think it's
Yeah.
needed.
By far.
So I'm sure that they will
So-
have guardrail there.
Then the follow-up question is, like the guardrail itself, in terms of putting that in, is there any chance we can get the road open, the bridge open before the guardrail is finished?
No, they will not
So
do
that's
that.
all has to be done?
That will be done after the road is done, generally. Yep. And then they'll still have slope restoration, but they can do the slope restoration after the road is open to traffic, potentially.
So what about the, there's quite a stretch there of new blacktop that's gonna have to be laid. Will we do that, or will they, an outside contractor will do
all
that?
part of the contract.
And that's all part of the bid.
Being
Correct.
federally.
Yep, that's all part of the bridge project.
Okay.
So speaking of the bid, if they have met their completion date, is there repercussions?
Well, and that's what I was looking into. I haven't gotten those answers yet, but I was bringing that up. I can't remember who I was talking to, but I think it was Dave Thompson with Michigan Paving. We were talking on West Sauk Trail about it. But there's liquidated damages that are built right into the contract. And it's usually a percentage of the bid price. So it's gonna be substantial, potentially $1,000 or more per calendar day that they're passed. Now, on other projects that I've been a part of, you can do extensions of time, but they all have to be approved by the state, and if they're, they have to justify that extension of time. And what Susan was alluding to in one of her emails was that because this was like through the winter and it's a multi-year project, they were able to extend the contract some because of winter weather. But it sounds like they have went beyond that. So I would have to actually look into the contract, which I don't have the field manager file for that, but to find out how many time extensions they've done and if they've been approved or if they're being charged liquidated damages.
So does the state get that money or do we?
I would have to read the contract and see how that works.
Because it was state funded, but it's our contract,
That is correct.
so
That
you
is
would think
correct.
we would get the money.
I
That
think
would make sense.
we
Okay,
usually get it.
okay, all right.
So the other concern that I have then is, you know, when we started this thing, we knew we had to get started by a certain date in September last fall. And it has to be done by a certain date in September this year, which is, I think, towards the end of the month,
Okay.
24th or the 25th of September. So, you know, you're looking at over $3 million in order to get that state and federal money. The project has to be wrapped up by that date in September. That was what Bob conveyed to us last fall. So, you know, we don't wanna miss that.
No, absolutely not.
So if we need to push somebody, I mean, today's the 8th day of
8th of
August?
August.
Yeah, so we're only 6 weeks away from that date in
And
September.
I'll reach out to this Susan with Mannequin Smith and try and get the breakdown on the liquidated damages and what the actual repercussions are if it's not done by that September date. That might just have been a completion date. I don't know if that actually jeopardizes our funding, but I'll look into that and get back with you guys at the next meeting, let you know.
I knew the start date was very critical because
Right.
it all had to do
The
with
permit.
the permitting.
Yes,
So, and again, the end date might be just as critical, but I don't know that.
right. I will check into that. And then my last thing is West Sauk Trail. They completed the asphalt base, they placed 2.5 inches on it, they finished that yesterday. And they went out, I believe it was maybe August 1st and 2nd, I think, they went out there on August 1st to lay all of the base. And the material dried out, the pulverized material dried out, and it was starting to show just a little bit of shearing and separation and some small fine cracking. And so they decided they were gonna finish that lane, pull off, and wait till the next day to pave it, because they didn't wanna run those loaded trucks over that brand new mat on the same day. So they came back Friday to pave the other lane, and it was kind of a scattered showers, rain day, but they were able to get all the 600 feet of it done. I asked them yesterday why they ended up quitting, because I wasn't getting a straight answer from them. And it was the Michigan Paving's project manager that made the call to quit because there was rain in the area. He doesn't have a whole lot of experience, they could have finished it, it was a gravel grade, it could have taken a little bit of water, so they left 600 feet not done. And that sat through all of this rain that we've had, and they just finished that yesterday. But Dave Thompson, who used to work for Michigan Paving, he works for Bailey Excavating now, he's been actually doing some of the paving for Michigan Paving. So he came in yesterday, and him and myself and the project manager for Michigan Paving met out there, walked the grade, made sure it was still good and sound, and so they did, where they were able to come out, finish it yesterday. But in that discussion of waiting an extra day to pave, they decided they're gonna wait for 2 weeks to let that base heal before they come in and top it. So the original completion date was August 10th, and we've extended it to August 31st to give them time for that base to heal. And so some of the driveways are left 1.5 inches low, but we tried to make it so everybody could still access their driveways and everything. But I think we'll have a better overall quality product by waiting an additional time.
Who's the project manager for them now?
Nathan Bryan.
I thought it was Nathan.
So they should be back in a couple weeks to do that, then they'll have a little bit of like shoulder slope restoration work to do, and then that'll be done. But I've kept Tim Shaw in the loop, and he's happy with everything up there, and
Good.
it's going well. And it should, we were a little concerned because they went way over on gravel originally, and we were looking at like $14,000–15,000 extra. But the way we've maneuvered things and moved things around, we should be less than 3,000 over, which is really good. So we're sitting good for that. And Tim, I talked to Tim and he said as long as we're within $10,000, he was happy.
Good.
So that's all I have.
So I have another question for you. Going back to the big two-bun territorial east of Gilbert Road.
East of Gilbert or east of Bird Lake?
East of Bird Lake.
Okay.
Not Gilbert, my mistake. Do you have any ballpark idea when that might happen?
Was hoping to get this year.
Yeah.
But it's all gonna depend on Eagle. And
And the weather we have.
Well, and availability of that big a tube. It might be a while before they would have one that big built. I don't know that part of it.
And, you know, from a standpoint of traffic on that road, it might not be all bad if it didn't happen till mid-late October or even early spring next year.
Right.
My hope was to have it this year, because when those bridges open, that's gonna be an all-season route, and you're gonna have
Yeah.
heavy trucks running it, and if that has failed as much as it has, we might run into a bigger issue
Yeah.
where we have to close it.
And the other thing is, I really don't want to go into next year with it, because if they get the 99 project, then you're gonna have 99 shut down.
Right.
And you'll have territorial road shut down.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
really need to
How
push
late?
to
I'm
get done this
hoping,
year.
How late could you put that culvert in?
it all depends on weather, if we have a winter like we've had.
You
What
can
I'm
do it
getting at-
in November or December.
I'm
Right.
trying to get past the farmers.
Right.
Because that's a direct shot to Pete,
Yes.
Well, and it won't be long, they'll be hauling potatoes across
you
there,
know. Yeah.
cause they haul a lot of potatoes across there, you know. All this time of year or a little later.
But you gotta get,
Yeah, 'cause that should,
you gotta get Eagles approval.
Well.
Right.
we're
It
on-
sounds
on
like
the
we
route for
have
that,
their approval,
as long as he
now.
don't change his mind again.
right, we should just have to be able to submit the permits,
Could we
tweak.
just put the culvert in, beg forgiveness?
No,
No, we can't.
especially not being this far along in the
Yeah.
permitting process,
Yeah,
that would be a big no-no.
we did that once,
yeah.
we got
Go
caught.
back and read
Yeah.
it.
Remember that minor road?
Yeah,
Well,
Well, it happened,
Mead Road.
yeah, more recently on Mead Road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Farmer turned us in up on the hill there on minor.
Well, on Mead Road, it was some of the people on the lake.
Yeah. Cause we had put a little bit of mud into their lake and now we gotta replace it, we're putting more mud in their lake, that's the stupidest thing. Anyway, okay, anything else for,
I did have a question on Genesee Road, is that, ditch to be burned out?
No, we have basically pulled all the berms, we've got some ditching left to do. I'm guessing a couple days' work and we'll be done with it. Cause on the south side of Genesee, most of it falls away from the road, so there won't be much ditching on the south side. And it's just gonna be cleaning up ditches on the north side and all the berm has been pulled off it, so it's basically just ditching in driveways now and then recoating it with gravel.
Okay, and that is, you're gonna get to it or get to it as,
It'll be a fill-in at this point with us getting ready to start seal coat.
So the new tube you put on Squawfield just west of Lake Pleasant Road.
Yep.
Will that get repaved before
Yes.
winter comes?
Yes, matter of fact, that's one of the crosscuts I was
Yeah.
talking about that has to be, cause we took that dip out of there.
It's a lot better than it was,
Yes,
even now. Now, there's just one more just west of there, just a
Mhm.
little bit. I don't know whether we can do something with that or not, but
probably not this year.
right away, yeah.
And like I said, that dip was getting worse all the time and then that tube failed.
Yeah.
So we're like, we're right here.
Yeah.
We'll fill this dip and then we'll repave it back over.
Yeah. I was pleased to see that.
anything else for?
Well, we need to do a sort of report.
Alright, new business, we're gonna not use the board of trustees, we're gonna let Bob do that, because nobody knows him, other than Bob, so he takes care of that. And Chris, liability refund,
So we did receive a net amount of $92,815 from Crystal for a refund.
Not bad.
Do we actually get cash, or do they just apply it to our
They
next
give me a check.
installment? Oh.
Oh,
That's what went towards the truck that we just paid off.
Yeah.
Cool.
It was nice
At least it's
seeing that in the
refund.
mail, not knowing that it was coming.
Well, I went to the annual meeting. That's why I missed our last board meeting. And, you know, it was a good year all the way around. Claims were about the same as they'd been the prior year. There was a substantial increase in investment income. So that's where we're able to get a refund like this.
We pretty much got a refund every year.
Yeah, last
This
year,
one was not as
varies.
big at all.
Yeah, it varies.
This one's not as big?
well,
This
this is
one-
bigger than a year ago.
The one, I'm sorry, I messed up my words. This one was a lot bigger than what we got
Oh,
last year.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry.
well, that last comment makes sense based on the income that you
Yes.
talked about, so that's what I was trying to gel those together, okay. Thank you.
Okay, we're back to the public. Anything more on new business? If not, we're back to public comment.
Yes. Yeah, I'm here representing Allen Township, and from what I've heard about the Hog Creek Bridge, would it be reasonable to think by the end of September that road would be open back up again?
What do you think, Kev? Well, depends
Once
on
they
the
get
bridge.
the bridge here, it
Couple
shouldn't
weeks.
take a couple weeks to put it in, it's waiting on it. Cause right now, we're kinda leaning towards right around the 20th or 21st of August, tearing the deck out
Okay.
and, getting a breaker for an excavator in here to break out the footings, so that we have everything pretty much ready.
Mhm.
As
Yeah, I was
soon as
down
they-
by there yesterday, I realized, you don't know, nothing that's been done yet, so.
But yeah, that's our plan, is the 21st, 22nd, tearing the decking off it and getting everything broke out, hauled out, so that we can get started as soon as it's delivered.
But you're not committing to the end of September for the bridge to be open or not?
I
And Bob told me earlier it'd be open by the time school started.
That's what we were
not
hoping
happening,
for,
yeah.
but then they pushed our delivery date
Sure.
of the bridge back, so.
Yeah.
Until we get the bridge, I really can't commit to
Okay,
when, but once we get everything, a couple weeks, we should be done with it.
so it's possible, but not gonna put your name on the line.
Right.
That's right.
Yes.
So
That's a
maybe,
good way to
so
put it.
maybe Christmas.
Well, we hope.
Well, I hope not.
I'm just, you know, cause you got so many farmers use that road. that-
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we fully understand that.
And they're using Watkins Road right now, which there's a bridge there that,
Yeah.
you know, probably shouldn't have that traffic on it either,
Yeah.
so.
Well, this gentleman said that he can have the crane there whenever we need it, so that was
Yeah, but you
a
can't,
good piece
you
of
can't put the
news.
bridge in until you get it though.
Yeah, I understand that.
You guys want a crane sitting on there?
Yeah.
No.
No.
You
we
probably
don't.
don't want screen sitting there not doing nothing, that's, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, money.
Sticks that 1.5 on the yard, it's sitting in our yard doing nothing right now.
Yeah.
And it's a truck crane, so it can be there in no time.
So, anyway, so it's just, so I can answer questions,
But like I said,
because I'm
our
getting,
Knock them down.
tentative schedule is the 20th, 21st,
okay,
start tearing stuff out and having it ready so that when they at least get, at least the pilings here,
and get them put
we
in.
can get started.
No, those come from the bridge company or that's someplace else?
Everything comes from the bridge company.
Okay,
It's not as big a bridge as Camden Road, it's not a paved road, so
now it's a dirt road, but
it should go fairly
Couple
quick,
weeks,
it
sure.
still has a paved surface on top of the bridge, if I remember reading the bridge right.
depending on the weather though, too.
Be more like what's on Sand Lake Road probably that you guys.
Yeah, it's pretty close to the same thing as on
We don't
Sand
need
Lake
any
Road.
hurricanes.
All right,
So I have a question for you.
okay,
You know, I was obviously disappointed, I'm sure all of you on the township board were, that your road and bridge millage failed. Are you looking to put that back on the November ballot?
we have a meeting Tuesday night, and that's gonna be on discussion because if we don't do something, there's not gonna be any road work in Allen Township for a while.
Yeah.
And because this bridge, we're gonna have to look at our budget to figure out what we can cut to get the bridge paid for. I mean, we've got a lot of it, but we don't have all of it, which I think it was 2 years you said we had to pay for it, so I think there's not a problem paying for it, but some people might get disappointed if they don't get Brian on the road next year,
Yeah,
or holes patched or
that
whatever, you know,
needs to
so.
be addressed.
And you've had a,
We missed it by 12 volts.
yeah,
I
and
wondered,
you've had a village before, correct?
Yeah, we had a 1/2 mil before.
Yeah.
When we first started looking at this, we were looking at 1.5 mil, and then when I got the new evaluations for property tax on it, you know, I think we can make this work with 1 mil, that keeps it lower, which should have a better, but it didn't pass either, so.
Maybe if you get a few disappointed people, then the next time it'll pass.
Well, if they come in and complain about the roads, say, you know, we put a millage proposal out, you guys didn't want it,
That's right.
you know, what else can we do? Because
That's right.
there's not enough money comes in, and we have more miles of gravel road than I think any other township in the county.
Yep.
And I spent half day yesterday driving up and down, and I did see you guys have graded some of them in that, which we appreciate that, but there's still a lot of washouts, a lot of, trouble spots that need addressed, and, you know, can't do without money.
Right.
And I don't like pay taxes either. I mean, I live on a paved road, so I don't much have to worry about, because the government takes care of mine, but, you know, state or wherever. But I still have to talk to those people that live on them back roads. So, just thank you for letting me know, or so I can update the people on what that is, so.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Doug, got anything?
Yes, I sent an email to the road commissioners that I got from Matt Ward on the M99. Did you all receive it?
Yes.
I'm kinda confirming that you got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
they had nobody show up for their bid.
No, yeah, pre-bid, nobody,
Yes. Yeah. There's no way it's gonna get done this year.
No.
Nobody bid on it. They better start working early next year.
well, and Matt did say in the email that, they're looking at options and they're trying to figure it out. So I have not heard any more than that.
We got a small lake on the east side of the road now.
Yeah.
There's small lakes everywhere.
Nothing else?
Nope.
This gotta be a first. Come on.
Okay.
Everything,
We're doing a great job.
He said something during the first one.
everything's good in Reading Township.
Yeah.
Well, good,
Election went well.
good.
Well, before we adjourn, if I'm reading this right, Mark, you made it.
Yes, I did.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
By what?
23 votes.
23 votes. That's the closest race
Yeah, well,
in
that's
the
sweet.
They'll still count.
Well, you know, I had an uncle who served on the school board at Waldron for 14, 15 years, and then he was on the Hillsdale County Intermediate Board for 9 years. And he would say repeatedly, he says, one vote is as good as 1,000.
Yeah.
That's right.
So you had a little bit of a margin if you had 23
I
votes.
actually gained.
Yeah,
Because
you did.
Before,
Yeah, 19.
well, at 19,
Yeah.
before ransom.
Well, I had a feeling that.
So maybe you wanna take Ransom Township, being they put you over.
I went to Ransom Township on a campaign. I rode around with Cliff and listened to Cliff.
It sounds to me like it paid off.
Right?
If you wanna get rid of Ransom, I'll take it. I don't
No.
I always tell everybody, I'll talk to anybody.
Yeah,
I'll talk to
It's always been a good township for me. They got a new supervisor.
Yeah,
So
somebody else to work with.
Jefferson Township's got 2 new people, 3 actually.
Trustees.
Dick Dillard didn't make it. And that's gonna hurt on their roads because he was passionate about his roads.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that can continue, but I don't think it will. No. So, anything else?
I move we adjourn.
Or
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.